Go ahead and get started. We want to be respectful of everyone's time, and I'm sure we'll still have some folks that are joining us, and we'll let them in as they pop up. So welcome today to today's Chesapeake Chat session. My name is Leanne Allen, and we are excited that you are joining us today. So we are expecting to talk about launching a new career, whether that means a different direction that you want to change, a different direction in your employment and career area, you want to advance your skills. And we're going to cover a lot of the topics that may be in the back of your mind, questioning whether this is the time for you to do that. We're going to talk about costs involved in many of our programs, and not just costs, scholarship opportunities available. We're also going to talk about what kind of time commitments are necessary for some of these changes. Some can be done in as little as 6 weeks. And then we're also going to talk about how you can get started. We have some career fairs and some orientations and so forth coming up to provide you pertinent information about how you can take that next step to get you down that pathway to a new career. So we have two guests with us today. Tammi Stricker, who is from our admissions and advising department at Chesapeake College. Welcome, Tammi. And we also have Joanne Gannon, who is the assistant director from the Upper Shore Workforce Investment Board. The two of them together are going to tag team to cover all of these topics today, and both of them have a critical role in your next step to launching your next career. So Tammi, are you going to go first? Is that what's going to happen? Okay, how about I'm going to switch over and let you be the host so you can control your information.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Take your time.
Tammi, you're also going to have to monitor if anyone's getting admitted, though, in that room.
Okay, that's not a problem. It'll pop up, or at least usually it pops up and says.
Exactly. So just keep your eye on that. Also, a couple other quick housekeeping things, folks. If your name is not evident from your screen name, if you can put that information into the chat so that we can just keep in touch with you if we're sending out other information or follow up. And the other thing is, if you have any questions, if you could hold those until the end of the presentation, that would be the most efficient. Feel free, though, to go ahead and type them in the chat. And then once the presentations are done, we'll address those questions. Okay, thanks so much. And we're looking forward to your information, ladies.
Thank you. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen, but also go back over here because I saw that people have entered the waiting room. So I'm going to admit them. Good. Good morning, good morning still, everyone. I hope you're having a lovely, blustery Thursday. We are hoping to just give you some good information about our opportunities at Chesapeake that are a little bit, they're non-credit, so they're not degree-seeking programs, but they are certification programs or to get you to the test for certification within different areas. So, you know, some people know what they want to study, some people don't. That's okay. We're going to give you some other options as well for additional information, since we're going to kind of cover a broad range of topics. So, you know, we have a whole bunch of classes. Our CE schedule just came out in the last couple weeks, and I actually just got an email right before this that they should be hitting mailboxes today. So that's pretty exciting. We did not time it that well, but hey, good job us. So if there is something that you're curious about, check your mailbox in the next, and you might have that catalog in there and get the answer right from there. We do have upcoming classes. This is just a quick slide to give you some information. We are, from the slide you can see, we are having a variety of classes. We do have the hybrid, we have face-to-face, we have some that are just online only. So we are trying to work with everyone. We know this pandemic is crazy and it's changing a lot of things. So we're trying to keep as many options open as we can for our students. So just keep that in mind, that there is a variety there. Things you can do now to help you get ready for classes that might start in March are take prerequisite classes. These are especially helpful for our non-credit healthcare. There is orientation that you must attend, and I have a schedule for that on the next slide, so bear with me one moment. But there's also some classes required for certain programs, and you can get those done. They are relatively shorter classes, and some of them are completely self-paced, so you can work at your own pace and work on getting through those classes. And if it takes you a little longer, that's okay, because some of our classes are starting at different times throughout the year. The other thing to work on is your medical documentation. For certain programs, again, especially non-credit healthcare, you have to have documentation that, you know, you are physically able to perform the duties, immunizations, things like that. And especially right now with everything with coronavirus and all the vaccines for that, I think medical offices are a little overwhelmed right now with all the questions. So it's probably a good idea to try and get that done sooner rather than later. Placement tests, these are not scary. These are not pass-fail. Especially those of us that have been out of school for a little while, you kind of hear test before you even start anything and you go, wait a second, I have to take a test? It's okay. It's okay. It is not pass fail. It is simply for us to be sure that you have the stuff you need to be successful. If you don't get the score you need to get into a class, you can take the test again, okay? So don't panic. I know it sounds scary, but it's truly not. We will work with you. We will get it done. The next thing is the financial support, which Joanne is going to talk about in just a little bit, and just getting information on, you know, that process and getting that process started so that once you get all the other stuff done, you have your funding in place and you can just start classes. And that's a really good feeling. We do have some options if you're not sure what you want to do. If you're like, I definitely want to make a change, but I have no idea what I want to do, that's okay. You're not the only one. We do have an online learning quiz to see if online learning is going to be a good option for you. We also have Career Coach and My Next Move, which can kind of help you see what your strengths are and what might be a good career option for you. Maybe it's what you're already doing, but in a different capacity. Maybe it's something totally different. That's okay. We're not going to judge you. And you know what? Unless you tell us, we're not even going to know. So there's no preconceived notions here. It is just you saying, I want to be a student, and us saying, cool, how do we help you? What do we get started with? You know, do we need to figure out those My Next Move and career planning? Do we need to just start with the steps? You know, if you know what you want to do, all of that is perfectly fine. And we will help you no matter what part of this process you're in. One of the other things I wanted to show you guys is upcoming dates. The non-credit healthcare orientation that I mentioned that is mandatory. These are their schedule for the next couple months. I have it mapped out for the whole year, but I thought that was a little overwhelming, so I just did the next couple months. You can see there is a daytime and an evening session. That way we can work with different schedules. Skilled trades is more of an information session. It's not a requirement. It is helpful. I've been to the sessions. It's very helpful, but it is not required. So skilled trades talks about HVAC, electrical, welding, or non-credit welding, the marine engine program, CDL, all of that stuff. And then we also have a career training fair, which is going to be next week. It's next Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30. It is virtual. It's going to be a Zoom session like this, but we're going to have breakout rooms. So you'll be able to come in, chat with us for a minute or two, get some direction, and then you'll be able to go into different breakout rooms for different programs where you'll be able to talk to the instructors, perhaps program completers, and the program directors. So you'll be able to talk to a variety of people. And if, in the cases of instructors, you'll be able to ask them specific questions about the classes and really get in depth. And once you're done with that, if you do that, and then you're like, oh, but I got funding questions. What about money? We are going to have people there from the credit and non-credit side of funding. So if you come into the session and you realize you want welding, but you need credit welding, then you can go talk to our credit people. They'll be there too. So you'll be able to kind of pop in and out of different rooms so you're not stuck in one place, and you'll be able to ask lots of different questions of lots of different people, which I think is going to be really helpful because, you know, we don't all know what we want to be when we grow up. And some people, you get there, you do it for a couple of years and go, this is not it. And that's okay. We're allowed to figure it out. Life does not have a set plan. So the career fair will be really helpful as well. The other thing I wanted to pull up really quickly to show you guys is our occupational guide. It's another way to get some help figuring out what exactly you would like to do. We really break down each program, and we break down what what you can do with that program. What careers do people have? You know, what do they do with this certification? Because I think that's important. You've put in the time, you've put in the effort, you know you want to go into a certain field, you're working towards a certification. What do you do with it? So this is our guide. It is very helpful. It has a lot of information, as you can see. When you get into the specific programs, you can see we talk about commercial driver's license and give you the prerequisites. So if you're like, I don't know what I need to do. Do I need to do those medical forms? Do I need to do testing? Right here is where it's going to tell you this. Tells you what kind of courses you have. And then on the other side, it gives you information about cost. That, oh yeah, there is a whole heck of a lot of funding to help offset that cost, because $5,000 is a lot. So there's a lot of options there. Tells you what you'll have when you've completed it. And it'll also tell you what kind of jobs you have. I mean, we all go, oh, truck driver. Okay. But you can also do different things. You can do chauffeur, you can do school buses. There's a lot of variety there. And there are some fields that, you know, maybe you're not 100% sure what exactly people do with it. This is where you can find additional information. So this is very helpful. This does live on our website as well. So it's not like, I think Marcy is going to send it out to everyone, but it also does live on the website. So you will be able to access it there. We also have the CE catalog that I mentioned. I'm pretty sure that's on our website already. Yep, it is. So perfect. So you can go right there. If you go to our website, I'm going to pull that bad boy up real quick because I'm a visual person and I need to see things. So here is that. This was our skilled trades info session page. But if you just go to Chesapeake College and you hover, don't click, just put your mouse right over academics and programs. If you click on continuing education, you can see the other things there. But if you click on continuing education, browse courses online, download Spring 21 PDF. This is going to bring you right to that catalog. And then you can go through it just like you would a paper version. So please use those resources. Please join us for one of the upcoming things. If you know what you want to do, go specifically to the healthcare orientation. You do have to pre-register for the healthcare orientation. I actually have their screen up also. Their contact is cehealthcare@chesapeake.edu. That's who you have to email to reserve your spot, and they'll send you out the Zoom link. And you can see on this page, there's a lot more dates. So you do have to pre-register for that. You do have to pre-register for the skilled trades info session as well. But their page that I was just on has a form right on the website. You just fill out the form right there and send it to them, and they will send you a reply with the link. And then we do have a flyer that we will send out to all of you for our career training fair. That is also going to have a landing page on our website. I think it'll be up today, where you can register for your spot and get the Zoom link and come to that. So I'm hopeful that we will see, virtually see all of you sometime soon. And if there are any questions, I've not been monitoring chat, Leanne. So if there's questions, feel free to ask.
Well, one question that came up was, you mentioned gears. Did you want to provide any additional information or what that means?
Absolutely. Thank you. That's the whole reason I'm here. So we do have a grant from the governor. It's called a Gears Grant. Oof, Governor's Gears Grant. Oh my goodness. So that is a program we're using in a whole bunch of different ways, but one of the ways we're using it is we have advocates and recruiters that are going to be working to recruit people. Hey, you're already here, so there's the first step done. And then be your advocate as we work through this process. We've broken them up by county. So they will work with people in different counties to help you through this process, to say, okay, what is next? Okay, for this program, you need to do this, you need to do this. And to help you with that process, it's a little bit overwhelming, especially if you haven't gone to school in a few years. So they are there to just help guide you through this and to make sure you're not missing a step. So you're not going, oh, I'm ready to start classes. And then you find out you missed something. Our goal is to help you finish all of those steps so that you are not missing anything. So you have all the funding information you need and to help you get to the right people. We are not going to know all the answers, but we're going to help you get to those right answers and get to the people that you need to get with. So you can reach out to us either through Joanne's US WIB email that she's going to give you in just a minute, or you can email me at tstricker@chesapeake.edu, and I will get you to the person for your county. And then we'll just get you started on this process and hopefully help you through the process and just make it a little less intimidating. Because it's people just like you who are going through the process and have done these classes and done things like this. So they're doing the same thing they have done the same thing you are doing.
Great. So I did want to just throw out real quickly, some of the folks from our public information office are actually participating in our session today, and they have graciously offered that if you would like to put your name and mailing information in the chat, they would be happy to mail some of those occupational guides out to the participants. So in addition, there are electronic copies, and I know there is a Spanish version as well. I'm not sure that the Spanish version is printed yet, but we definitely can get some copies. And Andrea, I saw you ask the question, and I'm thinking you might need multiple copies and or the electronic copy, and I can get with you to accommodate that request. So excellent. So thank you so very much, Tammi. Lots of great information there. Marcy has put Tammy's email into the chat. So if you want to have a direct link with Tammi and follow up with a specific question or to get into motion for the particular county that you reside to connect with that Gears advocate, she would be happy to get that process started for you. So we are now, I think, ready for our next guest, Joanne Gannon from the Upper Shore Workforce Investment Board. Joanne, are you ready to take it away?
Sure, but you have my slide, right? My one? It really doesn't matter if not, it's just the address.
I don't, but I can put the address in the chat, which is...
I got it. It's all right. So what I'm saying is you don't have to kick me over to be the host.
Great.
I made Leanne the host back, so.
Leanne's all host. Hi, everybody. I am Joanne Gannon, and I am the Assistant Executive Director for the Upper Shore Workforce Investment Board. And I'm going to talk a little bit about funding because Tammi did a lot of talking about, the programs that are out there, and a lot of people don't have the money to pay for them. So that's what I'm here for. That's what the scholarship office on campus is for, to help people who want to take classes that want to take non-credit classes. Those classes are not eligible for the typical funding. You cannot get Pell for them or FAFSA or whichever one you want to call it. It's not eligible for those programs. So that's where we come in. There is an email address that is, you're going to hear this over and over. It's going to be put in there, and we will have it many times. It is USWIB 2020@gmail.com. And so we use that. What that does is if you want to go to school for anything, if you email that and say, I want to go to school for, or I want information on funding for whatever it is, we're going to take that and go with that. We work very closely with Tammi and her group and the college and the business office. So we work with everybody very closely. A lot of people think I'm not qualified. I'm not going to qualify. I'm not eligible for the funding. Well, let me ask a couple questions. Are you 18 and older? Are you employed? Are you unemployed? Are you collecting unemployment? Any of those will qualify you. Have you been impacted by COVID? And when I say impacted, it doesn't mean you have it. It means, have you or a family member been diagnosed with it? Are you the primary caregiver of somebody who, do you have a child that the school was closed and you had to stay home and help them? You've been impacted. Did your place of employment close or lay off or reduce your hours because of COVID? You're eligible. Were you self-employed and lost your job because you couldn't do it? You're eligible. So there's a lot of different ways to be eligible. The other way is, are you receiving food stamps? You're going to be eligible. So there's so many different ways. If you're under the age of 25 and you have been incarcerated, do you have a child? I mean, I can go on forever. So I'm saying all this because what I don't want you to do is go, oh, I'm not going to be eligible, and rule yourself out when 99% of the people will be eligible. It is federal money, majority of it. So we do have to look at, there are some requirements. Some of the programs that we have are, of course, the COVID money, the opioid money. We also have money from Chesapeake Foundation. So there are some foundation scholarships. We have funding through the GEARS money that Tammi was talking about. We have funding through that. So there are so many different funding streams and so many different ways. This time last year, I had 4 different funding streams. Right now, I have 19. So there's 19 different ways I can possibly make you qualified. So that's very important to know. It's also important to know that we're here to help you. We are not here to be like, we want this and we want that. We're here to say, okay, here's what's going to happen. I will tell you right now, so you can relax and know that we're not big bullies here. We are going to say, you're going to send an email that says, I'm interested in truck driving. You're going to get an email back and says, thank you for asking us. Here's a form for you to fill out. Basically, what's your name, contact information. Have you been impacted by COVID? Have you been impacted by opioid? You're going to send it back to us. Not a problem. If you don't have a way to send it back, we accept it if you handwrite it and send it and snap a picture to us. We're good any way you get us the information. We just want to help you with funding. The other thing after that is you're going to talk to someone. You're going to talk to someone and say, hey, my name is Pat. My name is Carol. My name is Shirley. And we're here to help you. And we're going to walk you through this. We're going to take you step by step and help you through this. That's what we're here for. We can fund pretty much almost any program that Tammy's spoken about, and probably some more. So, that's what we're here to help you with. We're also going to follow you and help you through. So when you get in class, a lot of times you're like, all right, funding's done. Tammy's group has done their part and you're on your own. That doesn't happen when you work with us. When you work with us, we're going to call you every 30 days and go, hey, how's class going? Do you need anything? Do you need any help with anything? And then when you're done your class and you receive your credential, we're going to say, hey, let's keep in contact for the next year and a half. And we're going to call and say, are you working? Do you need help with something? Do you need further training? So we're going to help you through this whole thing. Tammy's got the front half, and we've got from the time you register to the backside. So we work really closely together to make sure you're good to go with everything. And the other thing I want to make sure I touch on really quickly before I change total gears is when I'm talking about funding, majority of the funding I'm talking about is, yes, all of it. We're going to pay your tuition. We're going to pay your course fees. Zero, you're not going to pay anything. But the part that is different that you wouldn't typically get with other funding like FAFSA and those is we're going to pay for other stuff as well. Most of them will. We're going to pay for your books. If you're in medical, we're going to pay for your scrubs. We're going to pay for your immunizations. If you're in CDL, we're going to pay for your hazmat. We're going to pay for your DOT physicals. We're paying for everything. If you need books, we're paying for those. There should be nothing come out of your pocket. Everything will be covered. Some of the things you'll pay, give me the receipt, and you'll be reimbursed within typically 2 weeks. So, I mean, these are the things. The other thing is, if you are coming to us and you're not receiving unemployment when your class starts, you will be also eligible for $15 a day as long as you're going face-to-face. We're not going to pay you to drive somewhere if you're doing virtual. That's not how that works. But if you're actually driving to a program, we will pay $15 a day. Once a month, you'll turn in a paper and you will get a check sent to whatever address you give us. So that's something that's a little bit different. So all of this is all you have to do is send an email that says, I want truck driving, I want nursing assistant, I want phlebotomy, whatever you choose. When that email comes, we're going to take it from there. And Tammi talked a little bit about the My Next Move, which is another name for that is ONET. For anybody who doesn't know, it's an ONET interest profiler. We have you do that as well. And then we use that to help you walk through the steps. We also have someone who's going to talk to you individually, one-on-one, and it's going to be what we call a career conversation. It just says, hey, what do you know about the program? What's going to happen to this? Did you know about that? And you're going to get all that information. And everybody goes through our program is going to get that career conversation with a career navigator that we have on our staff. So that's what that is. There's one other thing that I'm going to totally switch gears on for a second, just so you know, another option out there. And it's something called, we call it BYOB. All right. It's build your own business, build your own brand. Yep. BYOB. They love it when I say that. And basically what that is a 100% self-paced online business, basically business 101 class that we have with an outside vendor. So an outside agency that we've partnered with us and Chesapeake College to work on this program. During those classes, you're going to receive, hang on, because I always forget one of them. So I'm cheating. Entrepreneurial skills, effective sales presentations, overcoming objections, perspective excellence, and advanced business building. You're going to get those things. It is totally free. There's no eligibility. You literally have to send an email to uswib2020@gmail and say, I want the BYOB class. And I'm not going to, you don't have to remember anything but BYOB. If I get that, I'm going to know exactly what you're talking about. And you can typically be registered and in that class within 24 hours to 48 hours. So it's very quick, self-paced, online. When you're done, if you tell us that you're done, you're going to get a certificate. Leanne's going to send a certificate out, and you might get something special from us, from the scholarship office. It's a little treat there. But again, all of this is just by sending an email that says uswib2020@gmail to get all of that. So did I miss anything, guys? I think not. I think that's all. So I'm good. Unmute, Leanne.
Sorry, I'm just prompting you here. What is the timing from when somebody shoots you an email until they go through all the steps to get confirmed for training? And I know it varies a little bit depending on the program or the funding source, but just so folks have a tentative timeline in their brain. They can't call you the day before class starts.
Absolutely not. The best thing to do is, as soon as you figure out, like while you're talking to Tammi and those about figuring out what you want to go to school for, you can start with us. You don't have to know exactly what you're going to school with when you start with us. You have up until the day your class starts to actually, I have people that the day before, like, I went and volunteered this weekend and I don't want to do what I just signed up for. Can I change it? As long as I have actually had that twice. As long as you do not start the class yet, we can change it. So the sooner the better. We have had people, we say we need at least 2 weeks. And that's going to be pushing it, just because you're going to have to get some things together to get to us. But, and we've done it. If there's an emergency case, or like, I wasn't supposed to be in the class and now I am, what can you do? We work with it. But the sooner the better, because we want to make sure that we're not the reason that you don't get in class. We want to make sure funding isn't the reason. So we do whatever we possibly can, but we have to be realistic. I will be very honest with you. We have been slammed in the last 6 weeks. The beginning of December, I had to do a presentation on the numbers, and we had 168 people that had sent in from July until December. And from the middle of December till yesterday, we've had over 100 people send in, so we're doing it. We're working it. We've got the money to help them, but you have to give us enough time. And if you have a class coming up, we're going to push, we're going to jump you to the top and work with you as fast as possible. but you know, just the longer you give us, the better it is.
Great. Great. Any other follow-up comments from Tammi or Joanne that you've thought about as we've been chatting? I think most of the questions we've sort of answered along the way and so forth, but did you have any other wrap up or anything else that popped up, either of you? Do you wanted to interject?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, I'm a senior. So what can I look forward to, say, if I want to get into something? I'm in my 70s.
Do you have a specific occupational area of interest, or are you looking to explore some options through some of the assessments that would be available?
I'd like to do some exploring, and right now I'm into history. I work part-time as a park ranger.
Great. Well, what I think I would suggest, Tammi, tell me if I'm wrong, is for you, ma'am, to reach out to Tammi Stricker, and she can start that process with you and connect you with the right folks. Her email, if you did not get that earlier, is tstricker. So that's T and then Stricker, STRICKER at Chesapeake.
STI.
If you see the person that's talking, you see at the bottom of my where my name is spelled out, that might be easier because some of those letters are tricky. So it's just T like Tammi and then Stricker, STRICKER at chesapeake.edu.
At Chesapeake.
.edu.
And who? EDU.
Yes, ma'am.
I have your email address. So what I'm going to do is send you an email real quick, and I'm going to copy Tammi on that. So that way you guys will all be connected, and she can respond back to any questions you may have. So
that'd be great. I appreciate
You're welcome. Look for that email in the next few minutes.
Thanks, Marcy.
And Joanne has just put into the chat, again, the email for her contact would be USWIB. So that's USWIB as in boy, 2020@gmail.com. And the other thing I just wanted to mention to everyone is, feel free to share this information with your friends, your family. We've done a recording of today's session that will go up on our Chesapeake website, so that if you need to refer back to that later, or if you want to reference that and share it with someone else, this is kind of like, spread the word. This isn't an exclusive club just because you came today that you now have access to this. This is you all helping us to spread the message amongst your friends, coworkers, colleagues, family, church, whatever the case might be. We all want to send the message that there are opportunities available for so many people in the area. Shay has posted a question that says, what's the turnaround time when a job seeker sends an email of interest or training? You're talking about sending it to the WIB office to secure funding or to find out program information? WIB. Okay. So Joanne, I think kind of touched on this. The sooner you get the inquiry sent, the better. They're going to kind of work with folks to have programs that are starting, but everybody, will be responded to and corresponds to. It does take a little bit of time because it will be a back and forth process. You most likely will have to complete an application, supply some documentation and so forth before you can be finalized in terms of eligibility. So allowing as much time as possible before a program starts would be ideal. Any other questions, folks?
Leanne, I'm going to jump in real quick.
Please.
This is Joanne. I'm answering Shay. We suggest at least giving us a couple weeks. At least 2 weeks is our recommended time that we can usually get somebody turned around. Part of it depends on the participant and how fast they get the stuff back to us that we need. So, but typically 2 weeks is plenty of time as long as they are going to get the stuff back to us.
The initial email, though, you will hear a response fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that initial email, just kind of reaching out, you'll hear back within a day at the most. Unless maybe it's the weekend, but we all know we work on the weekends at this point. But then to get everything finished, yeah, it's that 2 week, but you'll hear back from us that we received your email relatively quickly.
Oh yeah, we have that email is on all the time. So as long as somebody's on the computer, you're going to get that. You're going to get it back, like Tammy said, usually the same day. Sometimes within the same 20 minutes, you'll get it right back. We're pretty quick on that one. We want to make sure we don't miss anybody.
Great. So Lorelli, I'll jump in on your question. Your question was specifically about one of our funding streams, the Continuing Education Workforce Development Sequence Scholarship. We are waiting our second allocation from the state. So we're not sure exactly when those funds will be available, but to everyone's benefit, many of these other funding programs, GEARS, and many of the programs that Joanne is overseeing, all of the programs for that Workforce Development Sequence Scholarship would potentially be eligible to be funded through other funding streams. So if it's not going to be from one funding stream, we have some alternative options available to students so that there is no delay for students in terms of being able to participate in a specific training program because of one scholarship program over the other. So regardless of the source, we pretty much are feeling very confident that we would have a source of funding to help an individual for those programs. Anybody have anything else? A couple of things I'm going to wrap up with. So if you can check your chat, Marcy is going to be posting a link as we speak to complete a survey, a follow-up survey to today's session. So if you could, before you log out for today's session, go ahead and click on that link and it'll take you to that survey. That helps us, prepare for other future sessions. It gives us some feedback and gives you an opportunity to ask for some other programs and ideas that we could do a presentation on in the future. So does anybody have any other questions? I hope we've answered many of the questions that we set out to accomplish today. We talked about costs of programs and how scholarships are available. We talked about what kind of timing. We also talked about starting points for individuals, whether it's a healthcare or skilled trades. There are specific orientations coming up for both of those areas, in addition to the generic career fair scheduled on February 4th. So that would be an excellent place if you're still trying to find your focus and your direction. That would be a great starting point. And Tammy mentioned that. I think I can share a flyer about that. I thought I had it up. Maybe I do not. But that is scheduled for the 4th. There'll be information, and as Tammy mentioned, there's an opportunity to RSVP through the website for that event next week. So hopefully, I think we've answered a lot of the things that we set out to do. Just a couple of the reminders in terms of Chesapeake College, that continuing ed schedule. I already had that on my notes, and I was going to say it'll be coming out in the next few weeks, but surprisingly, and to the everyone's surprise, start looking for that today in your mailbox or in the next few days. That'll be going out to residents in all 5 counties. In the meantime, it is available through the website to get the electronic link. Make sure you fill out the chat survey link, and our credit semester just started yesterday. There are still opportunities if you are interested in registering for a credit class. We have some 12-week offerings that'll be starting soon. You could still actually get in a class that started yesterday. And we also are looking at adding some additional accelerated classes that would be in a 7.5 week format that would start in late March. So excuse me. So if it's a credit opportunity or credit programming that you want to look at, Tammy would also be a great resource for that. She can help with advising in that area. So there's many opportunities, many different directions that are available through Chesapeake College, both short-term, certificate-based, diploma-based, or credential-based, degree-based, and so forth. So we really have a lot to offer, and we're hoping that you will help spread that message to your contacts. And again, Joanne is a wonderful resource for the ability to secure scholarship funding. We have more scholarships, as Joanne mentioned, than we ever had before. So this is a perfect time to take advantage of some of that funding opportunity that might not last, you know, forever. Some of that is definitely in response to the COVID crisis and having some of those additional resources to help with the workforce career training programs in our area. So unless there's something else or somebody else has another question, I'm hoping we were able to fulfill most of the things that we set out for today, and that you walk away with today's session with a lot of information that can benefit you and others. Does anybody have anything else? So glad that you all could join us today. As we schedule additional sessions on other topics, we'll be sharing that information out with our previous participants. So take a chance when you see some of those other things come up to join us again for another topic. So if there's nothing else, we will have kick everybody off to have a great afternoon, and thank you for joining us and taking some time out of your busy day to join us today for today's session.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.